Hello and welcome back. This time we're going to actually fix Big People album. I always try to get to the next step, but I think we're currently at a level where we could implement it. And so we have to add three things. We have to add another filter for the query. So that we can input a person ID. And yeah, and then we have to figure out how we can merge the photos of a person with the timestamp photos we currently have, and then we have to change up the Redux store and display it differently. But these are the steps we have to take now, and it should be kind of straightforward because it should be similar to what we did before. Alright, so off stream I implemented a bit more TypeScript, so I converted a couple of classes. Don't really know what I migrated. I think login and sign up page, something like that. And I even found like some edge cases that weren't covered correctly. So it's always good if you like working on something, even if it feels sometimes like a chore. Alright, let's go to LibrePhoto Docker, and okay, we probably already are starting up. So we can close all things, and we are currently working in albums, and we have two functions we have to improve. So it's these, and we're going to implement it the same way we did implement all the things before that, by adding a new vary parameter. And this time it's called person. And yeah, so this is the query I get recommended. I don't think that we want to select by name, but we could select by name. Currently every name is unique. But I don't know if it's just for a given user or in general. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to look that up. I mean, so, alright. We have the name, we have like kind, cover, photo, etc. I think I'm going for ID. So I think this should be correct. I mean, it's really awesome that it just found everything out for itself. Probably because we defined everything up there already, like in the currently used view. So we're going to do the same here. And we also need PhotoQS, yes. And yeah, so see, here we're using ID and it works. And yeah, we're just looking for faces on the photo and person and then ID. That should work fine, I guess. And because we don't know why we can't actually add a Q parameter, we will just put this here, like this. Alright. Oh no, it's working. Okay, so we can remove this. We only used it here because I think we have like different permissions or something. Yeah, okay, so I guess the backend part is implemented. Then we just have to go to albums, and then, and here we go, it's always like only JavaScript class, and we go to, no, not album people, and here we go again, like, it's, from my point of view, it's like really, really misleading, because album people, I would think like, okay, it's for one album, but it's actually the list. I don't know why, but we have to rename that. So this is the function we're going to work on. Oh no, album person gallery, here we go. So it's very similar to everything we had before, like we load on startup, we have a isLoaded function, yeah, stuff like that. It's pretty similar. So we're just going to change that up so that it's a functional component. So we're going to open up timestamp photos, and I actually implemented a little thing. We only query now if you actually use changed up the group ID or the group page. Only then we fetch a new album. So yeah, that's a cool change, I think, because before that we accidentally used like a lot of different things, and yeah, I think we can also extend that then. So, but for now, okay, so first off we have to rename that to TSX. And we probably have then to start everything again. So it's like this. And then, and we don't need that down here anymore. Okay, I don't have to use this. I only want, where is it? Timestamp photos, yeah. I want to open that in a new tab, please. All right, I think we now have two tabs, so that works also. So we just going to steal that. So the long-term idea is that we merge all these classes that are very similar in structure, and then only have like one class which manages like the Redux state and can switch between the modes and can set all the filters, and then gets way more flexible. Currently, like, we only have one class and can only query one thing, but this will change over time, because like we add now these new parameters, and we can obviously then put this all in one class, and it's going to be a bit more focused. So, but we have to implement now the boring stuff first. Use it like this. We don't need that anymore. So we already have these. We have here use effect and the use. Oh, we don't actually use use callback anymore, because we don't actually have to throttle any longer. It just isn't necessary. So, but we obviously here use use state. Use state. All right, and yeah. So let's go to timestamp photos. We have a couple of more things we have to just take, and the two use effect functions. Like this only renders on startup, and this renders every time group ID or group page changes, which is what we want. So these things are basically all the same. I think we could probably also change this up to be a hook, but I don't know actually how to implement a hook, because I never like formalized on reading up on everything. So yeah, But we can do this later, I guess. So we can import these album actions. Okay, and we don't need that any longer. Very cool. And we need the fetch group. Cool. Okay. So we also check here if it's actually the right person we're loading, which is, I guess, a good thing. But I don't think, I'm not sure if it's needed. Like, I will for now just remove this function and use the regular thing. We also don't need that anymore. Okay, and we have obviously here just a return. We don't need a render function anymore. And this here is also not needed. Very cool. So, right, we have a prop. We get the person details, and then we are displaying the person details. So we get the person details from store albums person details. And I think we probably loaded that when we fetched the person album in general. So we have to do this, I guess. I will just set mirror to do get person details. So we can delete that, I think. Everything else we have implemented. So that's nice. And yeah, so now we just have to steal that, and I think we can use pretty much everything except like title, icon name, and stuff like that. We can just, and that's what I mean with like we have a lot of duplication, and we can probably merge it to one component. So throttle get album isn't a thing anymore. All right, so I still have defined that, but I don't think I actually need that. I can probably refactor that later. And yeah, so I guess we still need use callback. Let's remove this one here and that one. Okay. Yeah, yesterday I posted something on Reddit, and the post went semi-viral. So if anybody new is watching, welcome to my dev streams. All right. This is loading isn't really a thing. We can remove that. This is the correct one. Very cool. And this is obviously like person. Okay. So use translation T, right? So it's called like this. And now we only have to get person details, and then we have basically refactored most of the stuff. Yeah, so this is obviously also wrong. Okay. We only need person details, and person details was defined, I think, in state albums. So we do another const. We do the brackets. We say person details. Yes. And the person is probably wrong. It's album. Albums? Yes. And I don't know. Album reducer. Person details. It's just called person details. We don't have any actual types defined for the reducer yet, and so we can remove the as person state. It's just the value. All right. So person details. So if we have person details, write the name there. Okay, cool. So now everything basically works. We only have to import one more thing, and that's Lodash for the throttle function. But I'm still not sure if we actually need that. So, okay, we now changed up basically everything. We now have to implement person type person. And we then probably have like a new parameter for person ID that we are putting in there, that we are getting from the match params thing. And we probably have to also like pass some props in here to actually say, hey, you have match params. Okay, that's cool. I think we can go for the match params thing first, because I already implemented that off screen. So if we go here, we have, oh no, we did this in user public page. So we have to do it like this. And then we get the username as a match param thingy. And yeah. So, right, we use it just as component here. But we want to use it like that. All right. Okay. Very cool. So we now have the album ID. And we can also then use the props here. I'm going to look it up again how we implemented that, because it's I definitely didn't remember that. So we have the props. Okay, we just had type props match any. Okay, not strongly typed at all. And but if it works, it works. Sometime in the future, if we actually like if we are at like 100% TypeScript coverage, then I will probably refactor all any props. It should usually work because I don't like do a lot of type switching with any and like hacks. So yeah, but we have like now props, and we have to do props match something. So props match params username. All right. And this will be now not username, but album ID. So now we have the problem that our thing gets longer and longer and longer, and now we have username, which is obviously a different parameter than what we had before. So I think it makes sense that we now refactor this as a thing. No, as a... Okay, we also have to do this. As a option. So that we add a option object. Because this can then be well typed. We know what options we have if we throw something in there. We have some types defined that are needed, like photo set type and group and ID, but yeah, where we also need like album stuff, and that's optional. So I think that's going to work out great. Okay, this is wrong, we need album ID for that. Okay, cool. So now basically we have implemented everything we need for that, and we only have to refactor. And we already using TypeScript, so it shouldn't be too much of a hassle. We're going to... Oh man, so many functions. that we probably don't need in the future. Fetch person photos. So this is the things that we can then remove. But for now we need that because we also have like the person details and stuff. Yeah, album date lists. I think we will just execute another query. This will be like a bit simpler. While it isn't as efficient, it keeps like everything tidy and the objects very similar. So okay, we have like fetch album date list and we have fetch album date, and it's somehow not directly over that. I think I will refactor that one. So we have the list, and then below that we have the other function. All right, so now we're going to define a type. And we call that type album date list options. And so we have the album ID, for example. Yes, we have a date. No, we don't have that. We have a username, for example, right? So it's a string. We have definitely the photo set type. Photo set type, yes. No, it's a photo set type. All right. And these two things are optional. Okay. We'll do it like that. So we will probably also have like, right, so we don't need to actually define like a person ID and the place ID and stuff like that, I think. Or maybe we do, I don't know. If we want to create a generic function in the future where we can like add multiple filters and look something up, then it would be nice to actually have different different search fields for that. So I think I will just do it like that. We call this person ID. And then we will refactor this one here. We'll just say, okay, we have options, and these are album date list options. And now we actually know what we can input where, because we say, okay, this is an object with these things, and then it will work. Okay, so no, what the hell? I just want to do options dot. And then it's easily extendable. We know what to use for which parameter. It's obviously a bit more code, but it's not that much. And yeah. All right, so the same thing goes obviously for fetch album date. So this is now basically refactored. The only thing we have to do now is to actually use the person ID parameter. So person ID param is options, yes. And then we edit like, so we don't do ID, we just do it like that. That works also. And the issue we're now having is that we should do it like that for now. Yeah. Okay, this looks fine. Yeah. Cool. So now we also have the person parameter. Now we only have to refactor the options thing here too. So this is a new type. We will call this album date option. And now we can put everything in here. So we have the photo set type. We don't have a date. We have the album ID, but album ID is a bit misleading because it's a date. Album ID. And then we also have the username, the page, right, page. And then we have the username. And then we have person ID. Yeah, I think this should be all the options we have currently. So then we will just remove that, album ID, page ID, photo set type, and username. Okay, so we can remove this. This is now called options, album date option. And now we can do option.date album ID, option.photo set type, options, yeah, true. It's not only one option. And we also have this one. Yeah. Very cool. And okay, so now we have refactored everything, I think. Now we only have to do this here. Cool. So this should technically work. We now only have to fix everything up. So this will be a new options thing. Oh, we only have to do it like this. And this is obviously album date ID. And this is page. This is photo set type. And this is person ID. So album date ID isn't a thing. All right. How did I call it? Date album? Album date? It should be album date, right? Now that I always switch them around. It's like so annoying. All right, album. And I also use like different ways of writing variables, which is also not a good idea. Okay, so this works. Let's go back here. Okay, here we have this is photo set type, and this is the person ID. Cool. Okay, why is he complaining? All right, because I somehow did the bracket here. Okay. Very cool. So now it's more readable because, like, you know what the parameters do, and it's extendable. We can even do like subclasses and stuff like that. If you like only say, okay, we only use like the photo set type, public photo with username or stuff like that. Yeah, stuff like that. So this works now. We only have now a lot of different classes that are broken. So we now have to do some refactoring. Okay. Album date ID page photo set type. All right, and again did this wrong, so this should be like that. Very cool. And options. No. Only do it like that. Okay, this also works. Then we have favorite photos. Okay, and then we're doing this. Okay, and then we have also user public page migrated. So this is page photo set type. All right, this should be the last function call we refactor. Photo set type. No, like this. And the username. Okay, very cool. I think everything should work now. The biggest problem we currently have is that if we rename a class, our development setup just doesn't handle it, so we have to do a docker compose down and then a docker compose up. We still have to execute another query for the person, but yeah, this should be fine. Okay, so let's do sudo docker compose up. No, that was the wrong one. With obviously the development environment. All right, and the console didn't crash. It gets more stable over time and don't even have to do anything. I probably updated it because, like on Manjaro, if you like install something with Paymac, it just updates all the dependencies, which is kind of dangerous, to be honest. And I think there's a command where you can skip that, because again, Manjaro is a rolling release. So rolling release and cutting edge means that you get hurt a lot. Because that's why it's called cutting edge, because you cut yourself on it. All right. So the backend started up, and then we can now look actually if it works or not. So we have here our silky thing to debug if the thing runs fast, right? Does it merge correctly? Doesn't it merge correctly? Stuff like that. Okay, so we load now. Very cool. Go to person. Click on here, and it loads all the images. Not what we wanted, and I think I know what's wrong. The problem is that we used, I think, but it loads fast, that's good. I think we used, if you go to albums, right, so here we use the person ID. But we don't use that for album date list view set, right? No, we also use that. But why are you just ignoring that? That's like stupid. And it's called person, right? So we actually use that. So let's check this out. Let's go. Let's open up the development console and look into this. So that work. We have here our page 1. And we only have the parameter page 1. That's weird. Because I thought that it would actually now use everything correctly, but it just uses the page. It doesn't apply any other query string parameter. So we also have list here, right? So let's look into this. Home date list, preview. Okay, that's weird. Let's check if favorite still works. Yes, favorite still works. So public photos will probably also still work. It's just there. Okay, so let's check out what's going on. Like, why isn't that applying? It's probably like not a very complex issue. So we have the photo set type person, and we add the album ID in the thing person ID. So if we now go to now where is it? Photo actions, now album actions, here we go. Then we go to here and we add the person parameter. If we have, so we actually also add that. Oh, no. I thought that I add page there, but that's not correct. That's very weird. Maybe I didn't save thing app.js. No, this still is correct. So we should use album ID. Maybe we wrote that wrong. That could also be the reason. But it doesn't complain because it isn't typed yet. Album person gallery tx, yes, that's the reason. Okay. Let's go to person. Okay, so first I have to reload. Okay, now we actually have a parameter, we get an error, everything goes well. So the error we are getting is non-type object has no attribute ID. Non-type attribute has no attribute ID. What is happening? That's a weird error. So let's check person ID. We probably used that somewhere else. So no, we only use this here. So how do we do it in album thing, person view set? So faces photo hidden, faces photo owner, faces photo label, viewable face count, and we just have only person, and we use the search field the name. Okay. Okay, let's check out the person query. That's also on album actions. Let's let's look what went wrong. Auto album, person photos. So we also add the person ID, we do it like that, and then it works. But we also add the person details, so that's different. Okay. Maybe I'm also reading that wrong. Non-type has no attribute ID in serialize. Maybe like we didn't cover that here. So if we do we have here like a person ID? So sometimes you have to define stuff here that a field gets understood. So we have here a person ID, and then we can look for it probably. We also have hero IDs. I still don't really get why that isn't working, but I would now take a short break and we'll be back in a second. Alright, I'm back. Let's continue the search on why non-type has no attribute ID. So I don't even know which field it is. It's like it makes sense that it is actually what we think it is, but we don't know that if it's person or not. So, and this shouldn't be a non-type because we actually add that here. But it looks like that the general loading works. So if we go here, we have list. Where is it? List. So, no, that's the wrong list. Non-type has no attribute. date you set. So, but let's go back to list. So first off, I don't see the parameter of like question mark person 34. That's weird. So let's go back here. And we have here our person ID. Because maybe he gets just like none back if he looks in albums for some photo. All right, albums. So we have the person an ID, and we never actually use that. Okay, that explains it. We do it like that. Oh. So that's the first bug we solved now. Now we can look if list has the same issue with ID or not. So we load that. And now it works. Awesome. So it was just that he was trying to load an album that doesn't actually have any photos. And from what I can tell, it even loads quite fast. So if we go to Silk, and then it looks fine, I guess. So 101 isn't even the query we asked for, I guess, because we only load album date 1, aka no timestamp album. Okay, please open up a lot of them. So we load the two things here. Okay, 80 milliseconds, that's well within the 100 milliseconds thing I give myself. So why is API users loading something? So we select these things from API user. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Interesting. We could probably somehow eliminate these these queries, but I don't know how yet. And but that's a cool idea maybe for later. All right, so now we only have the issue that the person name is loading. Okay, I think I can put it into English. That's, I think, more understandable. Let's go to people. That, and now it's behaving like this. And the second thing we have to check is, okay, if you have like two peoples, does it load correctly or doesn't it? So I think I will now go to face recognition and add a new person. I will call him 2. Very cool. Let's go to people. We have to refresh because sometimes it doesn't update the Redux store. And the thing is that if you have like a photo with a lot of people on it, then you sometimes run into this issue where you have the same cover photo. So we load this, and then we load that. Okay, and it doesn't actually update it because it thinks that it is the same thing. So that's not a good idea, I think. The general idea would be, I think, or the fast implementation is that every time we call album date list, because we only call it on when we open a page, is that we just reset everything. That would cause, like, obviously the issue that if you're actually in the same view, then you don't use the Redux store, which eliminates like a lot of functionality we get out of it. But I also don't have to manage a lot of state. But maybe let's see. Let's go to our Redux store and look into it. Redux photo reducer. And oh, I think it's an album reducer. Album date. Album date? No. Album date? Oh no, obviously it's not called date album. Yes. So this is the function for a single group. So we're not interested in that. We are interested in that here. So we definitely already reset the photo set type. So if we load something, we say, okay, that's none for now. And then we set the actual photo set type and set the payload. Photos grouped by date and photos flat and stuff like that. And that's not actually updating anything because he already found the same groups, and he says like, hey, that looks the same. Because if we go here, we have the no timestamp thing. If we go here, we also have the no timestamp thing. And he thinks, okay, that's the same group, I don't need to change out anything. So what we want to do instead is to reset the photos. But I don't want to reset everything, right? I just want to reset the groups if something changed. So I don't think that we have currently here fetching photos, generating stuff, scanning photos. I mean, it does work when we switch from one photo set type to another, which is interesting. And now I'm not finding my thing. Not sure what we can do about that. So I'm not even sure if he actually executes any queries. So let's reload. And let's go into here. So we have person 34 and page 1 person 34. But if we go now here, we actually don't change anything because he doesn't understand that he's in a different person. So he never calls list. That's the issue. All right. I didn't know that that was persistent, but whatever. So let's do this instead. F5. So this now loads two things. If I go back and go here, then it should execute it also, but it doesn't do that. Oh no. But if I now go here, if I now go back here, then it does actually load that. Weird issue. So this obviously depends on person ID or person ID, something like that. And then we will just set, now we will add that to this here, right? So person ID string. Then this will depend on group person ID. Okay, no, it's depending on this one here. If we don't, yeah, that's okay. That is a simple issue. So we just do this. We will just skip if we don't actually use a, if we don't change the type. I thought this wasn't a Redux store, but it isn't. So now, oh no, now we get an error. That's interesting. And if we go here, we also get an error. What? What is happening? So somehow, okay, it doesn't apply to list. So okay. Now I get it. So that loads, and if we go here and click here, it also loads, but only with one thing. The issue is now if we now go back and click here again, then we'll still execute the queries and will not use the Redux store. So that can be optimized, but I think it works for now. I think we had a similar issue here, right? So yeah. If we're now switching between different things, then we should obviously behave the right way. So, okay, we don't use pub, I think. Amazing. All right, we don't use translation, but we should use translation somewhere. Oh, we don't actually have that implemented yet. Interesting. Interesting. So, yeah, I think this works now fine. I will now implement the set group thing for favorites, I think. Yes. Because that's really helpful to execute less queries. So let's do that. And let's add this one here. Okay. And then I only have to add the new use effect. Okay, so I don't need this one here, and it's favorites. And down here I have to change this up and just set the group. Again, I think like get albums could be like refactored to a hook or something, or like outsource. So this is obviously already migrated. User public pages, I think the next thing where we can implement that. Okay, group. and then we import use state. Then we will import this one here. I mean, once you get like used to functional components, it's not that bad. But I still think that the benefit is like minor. The code is a bit shorter, and like hooks are obviously a bit nicer than high order components, but I don't know. I don't really see the large benefit. But it forces me to make everything in TypeScript, so that's nice. So we have public here and a username. Like that. And this is now set group. Okay, very cool. So we still have to fix one thing, and that's the loading thing. That's obviously important. And we have to remove the old queries. That's also a thing. Fetch album date lists. Right, and if we do this here, then we should also execute a query where we get the person details. So we now have this whole thing. What we want is that one, our person details. And I don't want the group photos, I just want the person details. So yeah, I think definitely have to do this. I think conditional serializer aren't really a thing, so I can't hack anything here, because if we go now to album person view set, here we go, then we always, I think, use the pagination thing. Let's go to serializer. No, we actually don't. So I think it should be possible that I only load. Right, we use this serializer for the renaming and stuff. So, and we don't load all the images from that. So that should work. So the thing is, how was the API? So right, we have the album person view set. We don't want to use that, but we want to use the person view set. I think. Yeah. Person view set. Let's check it out, how the URL is called. Person view set. So it's just API persons. All right. That's not a good API. I think there should be like, it should be called something different. But anyway, we can now do server.get persons slash and then we do the person ID thing. Very cool. We add the timeout. Oh, obviously it has to go into the server. And then I have to implement the then thing. Or maybe I have like a function where I already call that. Persons. No. Persons. Yeah, here we go. So we have already the people. And we already have the name, I think, somewhere. Mapped people drawdown options. Persons. Person. Person. Fetch people. Fetch people fulfilled, and that's in where is it? Fetch people fulfilled. Maybe we already have this like saved somewhere and we don't actually need to call the function. That would be very helpful in people reducer. So we have people, right? And if it's fulfilled, we will add the people here. Okay. Let's check out album people, because this should have like a function. So it calls fetch people. All right. So maybe all I have to do is, okay, I can go here and remove this one, this here. Because we already loaded that, we only have to load that if we don't have any people, right? Otherwise we can just use the Redux store. So this was in the state.album, so we want now persons. Person people. And there's no such thing as person detail, right? But we have the people thing, so we can load that, I think. People. And then I can call people and then the ID, right? Like that. And this is props match Params album ID, or it should be. So let's see if this works. Probably not. Okay, so fail to compile. This should say where undefined. Yeah, I think that is correct. Oh no, I can't click on stuff. That's not a good sign. Okay, let's see if I can do anything about that. Let's go to localhost. Okay. Right, that loads. Awesome. So if I go now on people, we should have like people in the Redux store. So if I click here, then it crashes. All right. Because cannot read properties of undefined, because they're obviously not sorted by ID, so they're sorted somehow differently. So let's check this out. Let's go to our Redux debug tool and let's look for fetch people. Fetch people fulfilled. Here we go. So it's called key. All right, so we have to look for the right key and then do that. So how do you look again for a thing? JSON object, search a attribute. All right. So to do this, we will just add another thing that's called people, person name, and that's no, that doesn't work. That's people dot filter. We do it like this. Yeah, basically. Why are you complaining? E has implicitly, okay. Yeah, but it is also any. Has any? Cannot find name. Alright. So that's attribute key. And that's album ID. Okay. No! No, it's dying again. God damn it. God damn it. Please! Okay. It's working again, but I don't know for how long. Key and equals, and we do this. Let's go again back here. Oh no, it's getting really laggy again. Oh no! Okay, I have to close up Visual Studio Code again. Let's go. Okay, and let's start it up. Okay, cool. So the biggest problem we currently have is that here, that I filter any in a React in TypeScript. So then we just add person name here. So if we have person name, then show the person name, else show loading. And yeah, so like this, no, like that. Yes, that works. Awesome. Cool. Let's see if this works. It does not. Cannot read property of undefined. Reading name. What the hell? Now it's not even called name, I guess. Okay, key. It's called text. Are you kidding me? Like, why? So that's also something I think we should change in the future. I think the issue is still that we don't have any value, but I think that's a different issue. Let's reload. Let's click here. Okay. Cannot read property of undefined. That's very interesting. So I think the issue is that the one thing is like a number and the other thing isn't. So it doesn't find anything. Fetch people, here we go. Oh no, come on. I hate this pinging. Okay, let's find it again. Yeah, set interval. Alright, let's see. It's in custom search. No, that's just the search terms. It's this thing. We don't need this currently. Okay, let's do this again. I should probably do this automatically. Like if you're like in debug mode, just only update this thing every 10 seconds, 20 seconds, because you usually don't really need this. And then you can work way better with this thing here. So key, value, and text. So key is a number, that's fine. Value or text, alright, and the other. It's very weird. So key is obviously the person ID, but we can use value and we can use text. What's the difference? I don't know, but I think we should just stick to value and right. And I don't know why it's complaining, so I will just log that. Log. Let's log props match param album ID. Or we could just try it like that. So it doesn't have to be the same type, just do it like weirdly. And it works, awesome. Very cool. Because like you can do like only normal equals and not a strict equals, and then this works apparently. Very cool. And I don't even have to reload anything, but if we do this now, it will crash. So what we should do now is so const person equals so if we have a person, yeah, we can do it like this. Should be the first person. So if we have a person, then do person.value, else do undefined. All right. Oh no, it's dying. Why? 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 Oh man. I don't get it. I really have to enable swap because that's unworkable. And then we should be stuck at loading, and then we will add a conditional thing with the use effect. If we don't have any people, then we will fetch people, and this should work for now. Not very efficient because like if you have like 1,000 people kind of slow, but 1,000 people for one person to manage is, I think, on the high end. That's an edge case. And it's more likely that you have a couple of persons with a lot of images. Okay. I swear to God, it has something to do with like Visual Studio Code. I will also restart the Docker containers, but they only take usually like 1-2 gigabytes of RAM. Not that fun. Alright. Go on. You got there. I think I will enable swap first, because like what the hell is happening here? That's not workable at all. I still don't know where exactly the high RAM usage comes from. It could also be like Brave, that it just hogs memory, because like you have 3 tabs open. Okay, that's my RAM, I guess. But it also could be like something in the background of Manjaro. Like I said, it doesn't boot every time I want it to boot. And I did, I missed it again. No! Stop, please. This is so annoying. And that's why I use a second PC to stream everything. Alright, what can we else talk about? Like, I can't understand how this should be the default behavior. Like, I just can't. Like, from my point of view, like, swap isn't that expensive. And like, operating system in general should not behave this way. Like, it should shut down processes if they use too much RAM. And like, the general operating system is in danger. Like, this should be automatically. I don't really get why they didn't implement something like that. And I think on Windows, I don't know how they handle it, but I think they have like, first off, enabled default by enabled swap by default, which makes everything like way smoother. But they also have like, this app behaves, doesn't respond and stuff like that to close them. Like, what the hell is happening? Like, come on. I don't even do anything. That's the amazing thing. Like, like, this behavior really makes me think about, okay, what if I just force close everything? Because like, holy shit, this is so bad. Yeah, whatever. Alright, I can implement that again. Okay, let's start it up. And this is the other thing, like, it only starts up sometimes. Let's see if it starts up. Alright. We got some output. Okay, it started up, at least it's something. So let's check this again. Thing is, now I also have to like get the live feed again. I thought about like maybe adding that on the other machine. I think I also should do that, because like, this is obviously not really working. So the first thing, yeah, sure. Restore. Awesome. Let's put this down here. Close and close, close. Okay, so let's look up how to enable swap. Do I need swap? Yes, of course I need swap. How much swap do I need? Please just explain how I do it. Okay, I have the command swap on console. What the hell is that? Like it opened up like this non-ironically. Come on. Okay. The command swap on will display the current swap information. So if we do swap on, we don't have anything. Using a swap petition. Sudo make swap. Using a swap file, yeah, that's what we want. Oh my god. Where? Oh, no. No! Swap file. $16 gigabytes. Yeah, maybe it's too much swap, I don't know, but I think that should be fine. Cool. So now I have to do some like that. Yes. This should be a default. Okay, if I now do swap on, we have swap. Amazing. So let's hope that it doesn't crash again. Or at least that I can close stuff. Because that was the real issue. Alright, so let's start this up. And let's start up the containers again. Okay. So we basically saved everything, but not that thing here. So this depends obviously on the person. So not like that, but basically. So not person name, but person. So if we don't have a person, then we fetch. So why is he complaining? Ah. A typo. Very cool. So if we don't have a person, then do fetch persons. Something like that. No, just please fetch person. Very cool. We can remove this. We can import fetch persons from person action. It's called people action, right? Yes. This is also something we should like simplify, like it should be called everywhere the same, but these are all the small issues we currently have. So fetch people, all right. We will call it like that. Very cool. And yeah, let's reload. Reloading, and it stays on loading. But at least it doesn't crash. Maybe we do it like on people. If we don't have people, then do this. Okay, F12. Let's check if it actually gets called. Let's reload. No, it does not get called. Interesting. Okay, then I will try to call that up on startup. Dot length equals null. All right, maybe that will work. Like, why doesn't it get called? It's kind of annoying. People. All right. Now I understood what I have to do. Let's go to album people. No, to album person gallery. Then we go down here. We have to do it like that. Argument of type dispatch any void is not assignable to the parameter of type any action. Property type is missing. Dispatch any void but required in type any action. Why? Oh no, now I have to refactor that too. Okay, cool. Let's go back to that one. No, the wrong page. Here we go. Let's do it like that. So now it does something and it loads at them also. Now I only have to refactor all the fetch people calls that they use dispatch differently. Find on files, fetch people. Okay. Okay, nice. Then we have to go to util action. I find it the other way around a bit confusing. My problem is that it isn't obvious that you have to add a dispatch object to actually call something. And that's obviously not a good idea. Okay. Fetch, 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 fetch. Alright, we still have album people where we have to change this up. Very cool. Let's save that. And let's see if everything still works. If we go to people, that works. If we reload here, reload, then it also works. If we go to timestamp and go here and search for 1, it works. If we go to face recognition here, it works. Very cool. Awesome. So I think we did it. We actually finished this issue. It only took like nearly 2 weeks. But yeah, we did it. We refactored a lot of code. More than I thought I would need to refactor. Like, this is a lot. Yeah, so let's push this and then let's call it a day. Like, I also already programmed for 1.5 hours. I mean, okay, the program crashed and stuff like that, but still. Okay, Libre photos, and then git add all, git commit, add person parameter, and then git push. All right, we also have one thing that we can do now, haha, which is awesome. We can go to album actions. We can go to person. Now we can delete these, I think. Open folder. No, not open folder. I wanted to search in files. Where is it? Find files. Oh no, it still gets called in fetch person photos. No! And reload. I don't think we need this anymore, right? We only have to go there and then it should work. So if I remove this here now, let's see. F5. It still works because now the component loads its stuff for itself. So we can go up here and remove this call. And then I can go here. And we also can delete a type. That's also cool. I think person photo schema is also not used anymore. But I could be wrong. No, I'm not wrong. Awesome. Very cool. So I can save this. And now something should complain. I mean, custom search is not complaining because, okay, because of something different. Cool. All right. We also don't need this one here. Okay. All right. We also have to go into the Redux store. Person. So we don't use person details, I think, anymore. Right. So this isn't a thing anymore. And this is also not a thing anymore. Very cool. And I mean, these imports shouldn't have worked because I deleted these types. Okay. Very cool. We could delete a lot of stuff. Yeah, fetch person is not exported. But now if I load, everything is still working fine. Awesome. Very cool. Oh, okay, I also noticed the no timestamp issue. Like when we worked on util, we forgot to add the general translation string. Where are you? Util reducer util. Here we go. Util ts, and we use this one here. And use translation, and then should be able to do this const t. So I'm not sure how that thing is called in our locals. No timestamp, timestamp without timestamp. Yes, no timestamp also sounds a bit wrong. So I can use this. Oh, but it's also in side menu. Do we have also no timestamp? Okay. Well, then I will use the side menu one. I think this should work, but I'm not sure. So let's reload. It loads. It loads, it loads, it loads. Okay, that did not work. Does this work? Invalid hook call. Hooks can only be called inside of a body of a function component. I think I already had this problem, right? So with translation, I think. Oh man, but how do you use with translation again? With translation. Oh no, that's a higher order component. No! Oh no. That's not great. That's not great. Okay, so I already imported I18N. And then I have to do, what do I have to do? Okay, like that. Alright, alright, alright. Let's do this again. Yeah, it works. Awesome. And now I can go to settings and change the language. And go to persons. Yeah. Great. Awesome. Love it. Okay, now I already did too much. Alright. So let's let's add all the stuff to it. So at first we have utils, I think, stage changes, cd dot dot, cd libre photos, front end, git commit, add translation to no timestamp, header. Cool. Then we have, alright, these are all like performance improvement things, but I also refactored here that we use options instead, right? So I did two things at once. Okay, so album person gallery we can do later. Album reduces to, like that's not needed. So we can use these and say, okay, stage changes. And we can do album, oh no, like I did here multiple things. Like you can somehow stage these changes in two calls, but I don't know how this works. Split up changes in two commits. Split up changes in two commits. I mean, I have to learn it at some point. The /p flag will allow to select which parts of the file you are adding. There's a popular question here which provides more detail with the patch flag. Okay, I can use git add patch or git add interactive. So I probably want to do this from Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio Code, patch, git. Like this should work, right? Okay. I can also try to do it. I can try to do it like selectively. Oh no. How do I do this? Like git add source actions album action .ts and then interactive. And now I want to patch. What? Oh, I want to do p. No changes. Oh no, man. Like how do I use the p command? Like no, that's an interactive rebase. There you can like rename stuff. Splitting a commit. I mean, I will not spend too much time on this, but I have to learn it at some point. Right, so I can reword, I can edit a commit, but I want to only push part of it in one file. One file. And now we are at git add patch again. Patch, this lets you choose one path out of a status selection. After choosing the path, it presents the diff between the index and the working tree file and asks you if you want to stage the change for each chunk. Okay. I want to patch. It doesn't allow me to do anything, so let's don't do this, but do patch instead, I guess. Add and then patch. No changes. It just always says no changes. Why? Oh man, I hate this. Okay, I have to do it differently. I have to do it like this. No, still does not work. Okay, I think I'm doing something wrong. Okay, this cannot be true. So git actions slash album. Albums actions. Here we go. Alright, stage this hunk. Okay, do I want to stage this change? This is deleting something, so Okay, I can just do, no. This is like deleting the functions. Also no. This is changing up and adding the options. Yes. This is more changing up of the functions. So yes. Okay, this is a really cool feature. I didn't know that this was possible. I mean, I think I saw it like on Serenity OS's stream, but that's really cool. So yeah, I'd also want to change this, add that. And we have actions using retrieve view. So why did... Alright, this was just changing around the order. Yeah, that's also fine. Cool. Alright, so this is all like the performance improvement stuff. So I can do git add -- commit. And now I can do improved loading of groups and refactored parameters. Yes. Oh, cool. So now I only have like the last thing, and that's like refactoring the people view. So I think I can do get it at all. Yeah, that's fine. Git commit refactor people album to use album date call. Yeah, so that's correct. Also remove non-used code. Custom search, top menu, album people. That's the function we refactored, and we changed this, yeah. Okay, cool. So let's do this. Then do a git push. Okay, I didn't have to do a git pull, obviously, because yeah, translations. Alright, git push. Very cool. So this should now work. Alright. Hey, we have another bot. Amazing. The future. The future. Where bots are viewing my streams. Alright, let's go to 1 and there's slots 2. Okay. With timestamps works. Favorite works. Public works. This also works. I still have to refactor that, but we can do this later. I can now say finished it up. Now person albums load fast. Available on the dev branch or in a week on latest. Very, very cool. Okay, so linting also failed. I have to work on that. But like in general, I think we were pretty productive today. Thank you for watching. And see you next time. If you like my videos, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to support my work, you can sponsor me on GitHub Sponsors. If you found a bug, leave a comment. All right, and see you next time.